Hey everyone, Bernie Cobb with HBG Capital here. Thanks for tuning in. And in today's episode, I want to go over the steps you can take today to reverse engineer your vision into a reality. And I'm actually going to do that by showing you exactly how we do that. Think of this as a blueprint to getting to where you want to go. There's a really popular saying that we overestimate what we can do in a day and we underestimate what we can do in a year, and that is extremely true. But if you are not taking and measuring actionable steps and checking yourself along the way, then you're never going to hit your vision. So I'm going to show you exactly what we do here at HBG Capital to make sure that we are on track towards hitting our vision and hitting our goals. You're not going to want to miss this. But first, if we've been having a one-way conversation and you've been listening to these videos, you've been listening to our emails, reading all of our content, you've been to our website, and you've just been curious about how you can receive passive income straight to your bank account from recession-resistant real estate while letting somebody else do all the work, schedule a call with us. We'd love to learn more about you. There's no high-pressure sales pitch. It's strictly a conversation. We'd love to get to know you. Okay, so let's jump into it. Reverse engineering your personal vision into actionable steps. How do you create the blueprint? So first you have to have a vision. So our vision is we want to reduce veteran homelessness by 90% in Middle Tennessee. There's currently 247 homeless vets according to the Veteran Affairs community, and we want to reduce that down to 25. Now, how are we going to do that? It's going to require a significant amount of time and capital and proper investment, and we want to do that or reach that goal and provide that capital by building a very profitable business, right? The business is the tool you use in order to do the things that you want in life. It is a tool. It is not the end-all be-all. So what does our business need to look like in order to get us on track towards hitting that BHAG? And for those of you who don't know, Jim Collins wrote a really good book called From Good to Great, where he talks about the BHAG and its importance. I'll do a separate video on the BHAG, the Big Hairy Audacious Goal. But for now, it's just know that it's something super important. If your organization doesn't have one, read that book. You need to get one. So our current vision for our company is we want to build 300 homes here in Middle Tennessee, targeting first-time home buyers, aka affordable new construction, not to be confused with affordable housing or low-income housing, right? First-time home buyer, new construction products, lowest supply, highest demand real estate product in the country right now. We're going to do it in the next 3 years. We don't do 5-year goals because 5-year goals just don't seem to work. We seem to blow everything out of the water way too quick, and they're just not a reality. 3 years seems to be a lot better for us. Even 1 year is better than 3. So our 3-year goal is 300 homes at an average gross profit per home of $90,000. Gross profit means before all the company expenses are taken out. So if we sell a home for $400,000, we want to make $90,000 after all the expenses of that home. That brings us to a gross profit of roughly $27 million. $90,000 times 300 homes, $27 million gross profit, and we want to run a 40% net profit business, meaning of the $27 million that the business brings in, we want to keep 40% of it before taxes. So that would be earnings before interest and taxes, all that good stuff. So that's roughly $10 million. So $10 million is the take-home amount that the partners of HBG Capital want to take home after we've paid out all our investors and everybody else. That's the goal. So how do we get there? How do we get to 300 homes in 3 years? And how do we make sure we're making at least $90,000 per home? So what I've got here is basically our blueprints. You can see there's a lot of stuff up here. You've got different quarters. This is something we started implementing, I don't know, a year and a half ago, something like that, maybe 2 years ago. And it's been great to show everybody at the organization so everybody knows the part that they play in the bigger role and the big vision. So everybody organization, think of your organization as being a big rowboat where you've got the captain at the front, the visionary who's like, all right, this is the direction we need to go. And then you've got your CEO integrator behind them with the microphone, going row, row, trying to make sure everyone is all in unison, rowing at the same time. And then imagine your paddlers with their paddle and their oar, all the different departments of the company. And you want to make sure everyone's rowing in the same direction. Because what happens if one side's rowing and the other's not? You're just going to go in circles. You're not going to go anywhere. So think of this blueprint as a rowboat with all the different departments all rowing in the same direction. It's the captain's job to make sure you're going in the right direction. The visionary or the integrator's job to make sure that everybody's rowing at the same time and it's working. So how do we do this? We've identified 4 critical success factors in order to hit our goal. These are the things that all the little mini goals that we do are all boiled down to these. We need to increase our build and rehab efficiency. We need to manage cash flow. We need to increase our revenues, and we need to secure financing. This is all really, really important. So let's jump into the Q2 stuff that we outlined. And it changes every quarter based on the needs. And it should be changing because every quarter, every single person in the organization has something called a ROC. And all a ROC is a quarterly goal. But it is basically your quota. You have to hit this ROC. And normally we don't do any more than 3. So each person at the organization doesn't have any more than 3 ROCs because we want them to laser focus. Sometimes it's less than that if it's a really important goal. One quarter I had to raise something crazy like $4 million, and that was my one ROC. It was everyone was pointing to me going Brandon, you don't do this. That is the only thing that we need you to do this quarter is raise that money. So every meeting when we were discussing ROCs, I was giving them an update. I had that one ROC. It was a pretty big ROC, but no more than 3 so that it's manageable. And here's what that looks like. So these critical success factors here, you can see black is financing, pink is cash flow, yellow is build efficiency, green is revenue. So what you have here are goals. And so the goals kind of fall under the critical success factors. So for example, new construction time less than 7 months, you can see that it falls under a green category. That would be revenue or building efficiency. So you can see they're labeled according to the color, according to the critical success factor. So let's jump in here. Again, this is designed to give us the blueprint that we need to get to where we want to go. So one of the goals we've identified is we want to build all these homes in less than 7 months. That is going to significantly reduce our market exposure. And the longer you've got money tied up in the market where the market prices can fluctuate, the more risk it is, right? If you get down a house in 8 months, there's pretty little risk that the market's going to tank so low in that 6-7 month period that it's going to affect the price of that home to the point where you're losing money on it, right? Back in 2008, 2009, a lot of the guys that were taking 12, 18 months to build stuff, those were the guys that really got caught with their pants down. So if we can manage our build time, that's going to significantly reduce the risk of the market catching us because we'll be able to pivot very quickly. So how do we hit this goal? Well, we've got different owners. So you can see, my partner, he owns this goal. But there's other people that are involved in the strategies. The strategies fall underneath the goal on how we're going to hit that. So we've got one of our project managers. He's doing a monthly contractor newsletter. This is to create some culture within the subcontractor community so that we can significantly build relationships that matter with these guys. So they're not, we're not just a number to them. We're not going to go up on price. They see us as a valuable partner. This is huge. We've realized that when we take the time to build those relationships with our subcontractors and show them that we care and we're giving them recognition for all the hard work that they've done, then they tend to be easier to work with. They answer the calls more, they show up more, they do a better job, they do stuff that's not even within their scope of work. We've identified that this is being huge, and so this monthly newsletter that is calling out these contractors for all the great stuff that they've done and just adding a little bit of humor into it, this is something that we've identified could potentially make a really big impact within our organization, and we're not going to have as much subcontractor turnover. Accountability Gantt chart per project. He's working on this. So we're really working to refine our Gantt charts. So a Gantt chart is basically a construction schedule. Imagine just a chart that has every single trade at the side, and then it's got when that trade should be doing their job. So you can see the life cycle of the entire build all in one photo. We've been working on something where we're trying to identify the gaps and inefficiencies in our build process. And so we want a Gantt chart where we can actually communicate under each line item if there is an issue. So right now we've got a great schedule and we've got a great product management tool or project management tool that allows us to manage every little part of the construction process, but it's tough for us to track why we went over in each little phase. And so this this accountability Gantt chart is going to do that. We're creating something where we can actually see in real time based on the projected schedule and then the actual schedule and see exactly what took us long and why. So we'll be able to really drill down on all the little inefficiencies and start vacuuming up all those dimes and pennies. The next thing is a contractor roster per project. So another gap and inefficiency we identified was our PMs. When I sit down with them one-on-one, and I'm always looking to make them more efficient. And one thing we've noticed when I had them do a time audit. So every hour, an alarm went off on their phone, and they had to stop, go to Excel, write down what they did for the last hour, and then put a number of minutes per task to it. And so there's an Excel list with like 50 different tasks for a whole week's worth of work, and then minutes assigned to every single task. And what that did was that spit out a time chart for each of these, each of our project managers, and they were able to go in and see like, wow, I spent a lot of time communicating with subs playing telephone. In other words, the HVAC guy calls and says, I got a problem with this framing over here. Can you call the framer and have them fix it? Well, we've identified that rather than all these contractors calling one person and then him having to call all the other contractors, why not just connect all the subcontractors with each other on every single project? That way they can just call each other. And when we came to this realization that he was spending a ton of time doing this, we're like, what if we just created a roster that sits on a giant board at the property with all their contact information? Would that help alleviate the problem? And so this was something that we're really excited about. Rolling through these monthly contractor webinar feedback. Again, that's to connect all the contractors together, doing a monthly webinar, getting everyone on the same page. We've identified that we need the full construction blueprints with plans and design. So we were kind of using some blueprints that were inefficient. So we were having to like reach one party that does the mechanicals, the other that does the design, the other that creates the actual blueprints, and like try to like have them all communicate and tie it all together. We just decided we were looking for a firm that could do it all in-house. So we could have one complete design and not have to worry about communicating with 3 different parties to create these blueprints and designs. We're always looking to grow and get better. I'm a big who, not how guy. So I'm always looking to network with other builders and people who are doing bigger, better things than us. And so my partner here is setting up meetings to have like 3 other builders that are doing like 300 to 1,000 homes a year come in and look at our systems and processes and make suggestions. Super excited about this. This is pretty straightforward. Monthly team outing. This is to build culture. Very important that we don't have turnover. We want to retain all our great employees. So Rachel's owning this one. She's going to be in charge of creating fun, engaging team outings. Monthly cash flow reports and projections. So I'm in charge of hiring a CFO and creating monthly cash flow projections. You can see there's some other things involved here. Weekly bookkeeper audits. We were used to cleaning up the books probably every like 2-3 weeks. I want it done on a weekly basis now. But I need to get an understanding of, a better understanding, because there's always somebody who can do it better than me. Of like, what does our cash flow projections look like? Like, how do I run this organization like it is a publicly traded company? And I've got people to answer to, right? I've got investors, right, that invest with us, but it's not publicly traded. We're not required to like make any guarantees or, do all this crazy stuff that, publicly traded companies are required to do with the SEC. But like, I want that. I want to act like I want to go public one day. I want that. And so I'm going to need to bring on a professional CFO to do these items right here. This is going to be huge. So we've been, one of the biggest raises we do, or one of the biggest components of the raises we do, say we're raising $2 million for a project, I'd say that probably 40% of that raise is startup costs. So these are like costs just to get the lumber package, the block, the concrete, just to get that first draw from the bank. If we can set up enough lines of credit with all the different vendors, we literally can alleviate 40% of the money that we need to raise per project. That is huge. So in order to do about 300 homes a year, I think I projected that we were going to have to raise somewhere in the ballpark of, I want to say it's like $18 million, somewhere around there. 20, I think it might even be 20 million. But if we can get better, if we can establish lines of credit where we don't have to raise that money and those vendors are okay with us paying them when we get that first draw, that's huge. That is huge. It alleviates a huge amount of money we need to raise to hit our goals. So that's really, really big, right? So now you're probably starting to see how each individual in the organization plays a really big role to where we are going. 5 rebate programs established. This is just getting rebate programs back from specific vendors on products that we're already buying. So we're already buying a ton of doors. We're going straight to the vendors going, hey, if we can buy enough doors from just you, will you give us a rebate, right? Siding, same thing. So vendors will actually give you rebate programs if you're buying enough product. And we're buying tens of millions of dollars of products a year. So this makes sense for us to do. I've got to raise $2 million for these 2 projects right here. So that's on me. As you can see, I've got Rachel is committed to getting 4 introductory calls with investors scheduled per month. If we hit that, then we should be able to hit that $2 million goal. I'm also bringing in a third party to do a company audit. I'm bringing in an advisor who has helped other real estate development companies like ours go from $30 million a year to like $90 million in a 3-4 year period. They've got experience doing this. They know what the path ahead looks like. And I want to partner with people like that, right? I want to pay them for their services. So he's going to come in and literally do an audit on everything and tell us what we need to be doing. And then sign-off meetings implemented. This was a big thing for us, especially in the initial stages of the projects. We're kind of having to go back and redo a lot of things. Right now, for example, we've got some homes where we decided to put a lot more stuff at basically a 3rd floor, and we didn't originally plan for that. So we're having to redo all the structural stuff with the home on the bottom. So we had to bring in, the structural engineer to come back and, add some piers, reinforce some walls. The home's not framed up just yet. But that costs money. When you already have design plans and you have to go redo everything, you're basically redoing everything and you're paying for it again. And it delays the project significantly, which costs time, money, and market exposure. So what we really wanted to do was reduce all of that. And we do that by having a sign-off meeting. So the designer shows up, the real estate agent shows up, I show up, my partner shows up. Everyone shows up and basically signs off on everything. So the project managers are signing off on the Gantt chart schedule, saying, hey, we can do the project next amount of time. The construction coordinator shows up and goes, boom, I've got all the materials scheduled. Or is this the finalized blueprint and everything we need? The agent shows up and goes, yes, this is the product we built. So everyone basically signs off. So there's no discrepancy down the road where someone says, whoa, I thought we were doing this. No, we need to change this. We don't want anything. We want a solid game plan right when everything starts off. So again, these are all rocks. So these are quarterly goals. Everybody has weekly KPI or key performance indicators that they have to hit on these. And if they don't, then that's a problem, right? This is why we only hire A+ rock stars. You got to hit your rocks. So by doing these, by hitting these rocks and taking these steps, we know that we're going to be able to hit our vision of reducing veteran homelessness by 90% in Middle Tennessee and running a $27 million a year gross profit business at 40% net profit margins. So that is all for today. Again, if you have any questions about investing in stuff like this and receiving passive income, schedule a call with me. I would love to learn more about you. Till then, see you guys.